Dave, you said something about getting people more involved in the political process. And I know you're talking about the recall of the governor. And one of the things we were doing is we were live streaming every single day from the back of the bus. I was answering questions live on IG. I was out there talking to the people, and people walk up to me and they said, I've never seen a politician on the streets talking to as many people as they would want. I've never seen anybody live streaming, answering questions in real time. And we were thinking, maybe we can get people re-involved in this political process. I had 12-year-old kids that would ride by on a bike and say, you're the mayor, innit? And I'd be like, I know you can't vote, but I'm amazed you even know who I am, which at least is a positive thing. So I do think that if we see our politicians, and who knows, maybe you'll be one of them, Dave, getting out there with their media platforms and streaming. I mean, Trump did a little of this with Twitter, but imagine with video, maybe we can re-engage people with the political process because over here, it seemed like most people started to care a day or two before the election. They kind of voted and they kind of went on with their lives. And it was a little frustrating because these people in power are controlling everything, their livelihoods, their children's education, their health, their freedoms. I don't know. I'd like to think that hopefully we can get people more involved.
Well, I think the way we get people more involved is that the generations younger than us old timers talking right now, they are growing up in this time where the expert class has failed them related to politics, related to COVID and lockdowns, completely failed them every week. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, stay in your house, don't stay in your house. You're going to die, you're not going to die. They don't trust anybody. I mean, when I do college events and I talk to 18, 19-year-olds, if I say CNN, if I'm giving a talk and I just mention CNN, that's the punchline to them. They laugh at CNN. So the entire trusted class that we grew up with, where, you trusted an academic class, you trusted a scientific class, you trusted a political class or a media class, at least at some level, that has been completely blown up for these people. Now, does that mean that everyone involved was bad all the time? Of course not. Of course not. And I try not to impugn everybody's motives, and everyone has selective pressures and everything else. Like Fauci, for example, do I think he's a truly bad man? Probably not. I think he got way over his head and then sort of enjoyed the fame, and he liked going on these shows. And then there's some weird part of having power where you just want to exercise it all the time. And then it's wear a mask, don't wear a mask, stay at home, lock down schools, and you just start saying stuff. So that's not to excuse any of the things that any of these people have done. But the point is, young people look at all of these people and they're like, man, you guys have failed us. And then you throw in some of the more crazy social justice stuff where you're not allowed to say that there are biological differences between men and women. We all know that there are. So now a young person's going, wait a minute. My parents' generation and the expert class literally can't say that men have penises and women have vaginas. That's too controversial for them. So for them, I think the whole thing has been blown apart. And I think what we can do, and what I'm really trying to do, is show them that there are some adults still here. I'm not perfect at this, but I'm trying to do something. You're trying to do something. There are voices that are trying to put the pieces together. What I'm really trying to figure out is, does the entire thing have to burn now? Like, do all the universities have to go down? Does all the media have to go down? Like, the New York Times is evil at this point, absolutely evil. We covered this on my show yesterday. I don't know if any of your viewers saw this. It was so extraordinary. They ran a piece, an op-ed in the Times called "The Myth of Coexistence in Israel." And they showed a map, a series of 4 maps of Palestine shrinking. Well, it's a completely fabricated map because, as I'm sure you know, there was no country known as Palestine. And then I don't have to get into all the details about that. But then the next day, they issued a correction where they said that the map that they showed next to this op-ed piece, it wasn't supposed to be factual. It was just a work of art to illustrate the point in the op-ed piece. So basically, they're telling you, we just make up things. We make up things and we put it in our paper to fit our narrative. I think people have really woken up to this. I think nobody is watching CNN going, this is true. Yes, there's a certain amount of sort of blue anon people that just don't get it, that are going that route. But the ratings are tanking. More people are getting their news from places like this. And we just got to keep pushing and pushing and have faith. I always have faith in the human mind. That's the thing. I believe in human ingenuity. I believe that young people can fix things. And I believe that we can do it. I don't think the monster can eat all of us. I just don't think it can. But how many of us can it eat, and how much destruction? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, that is the question. And, it's something that Dr. Jordan Peterson said when he was in this studio on the speaking tour over here in London. He said, Brian, we've now realized that people aren't as stupid as we thought they were. And he said, we've seen that they can now, consume a long form piece of content, or, him debating Sam Harris on a stage at the O2 Arena where Beyonce played a few months earlier that I took my wife to, and people come to that by the tens of thousands. I do agree with you. I think people now, we're starting to realize they can appreciate a nuanced argument. They do see character behind headlines. So I agree with you. I guess we got to keep doing what we're doing and keep pushing forward. The tide is turning to independent. It's just riddled with potholes of technology and other pieces and what's going on with politics.
What other tricks do they have up their sleeve, in essence? That's the question.
And they have quite a few. And look, the New York Times is a shame. I'm surprised I even still glance at it every now and then, but I do. But when I do, I just see agenda now to where it almost makes me laugh out loud. It doesn't even look like news to me because it's always through a lens of their own liberal or whatever agenda it is. And it's so obvious to me now. It started becoming obvious a few years ago, but now it's so blatant where it's not even news anymore. And it's just a shame that it purports to be that. And I hope you're right. I think our younger generation is seeing it. And look, they are getting their news from other sources right now. And we had a YouTuber throw his hat in the race here in the mayor of London who did quite well. And I think that was a vote from the kids saying, we're tired of the establishment. And again, you've got to listen to that. And I do think there's some hope in that as well.